5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to the Rideshare Zone, where every ride matters. And now, here is your host, Sean, the Colorado Rideshare Guy.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 18 of the Rideshare Zone. I'm your host, Sean, the Colorado Rideshare Guy. You can find me on all the major social platforms at CO Ride Guy. That's at CORIDEGUY. And of course, all the podcast platforms and including Patreon now. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as we get into the episode. But welcome in everybody. See, we got people coming in already. We got Twin Pines Studio, Bubba Sue, Traveler. What is happening? I'm 18 now, almost old enough to have a drink. Oh, 18th episode is what you meant, not 18. I'm a little over that. Anyway, but thank you, Bubba Sue. Appreciate that. So, hope everybody's had a good and productive weekend and beginning of the week so far. And we've had some gloomy weather here down in Colorado Springs, at least. I think up in Denver they even had some hail over the weekend. But anyway, so let's jump into this. And of course, we know our favorite subject that we love to dig into, and actually don't have a whole lot to beat up with them on, because I mean they did all the pullbacks with, you know, our cars like to swim. We don't want them to swim. Our cars can't handle traffic pylons, so we're going to take them off the highways. Not a whole lot has changed with that. Bud Soda Stories, welcome in, brother. How you doing? So, not a whole lot new with Waymo. I mean, we could show some other stupid videos and this and that, but Waymo's still going full force, guys. I mean, they're running and gunning. I mean, they've got a new vehicle that they're putting out. This is a concept vehicle, but looks like a Fisher Price or a Lego set vehicle almost. Need a little Lego guy with that one. But the actual vehicle looks almost identical to this. It was just kind of a interesting picture to get a look at it. If you guys had noticed down on how low it sits. So it's kind of a minivan type thing is kind of what it looks like to me. So anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. They're launching the Ojai. Ojai. It's pronounced Ojai. It's made in China by a company called Zeekr, and which is a subsidiary of an automotive manufacturer, Geely, Geely, out of Hangzhou, China. I'm brushing up on my Cantonese. I don't know if it's Mandarin or Cantonese. It's probably Mandarin, but we're just gonna keep going with it. But yeah, so we've got Chinese vehicles hitting the streets, partnered up with Waymo. You know, worried about TikTok being owned by the Chinese, but we're going to let autonomous vehicles that are owned by Chinese manufacturers drive around our city streets and gather data points and all kinds of stuff like that. And you're worried about somebody sitting at home with TikTok, but you're allowing the Chinese manufactured vehicles collect all kinds of data on people's habits, people's routes. This is just as bad as freaking anything that, you know, TikTok could have served up. In my opinion, somebody proved me wrong that there couldn't be doing equally or more nefarious data collection. So who knows? That's kind of my opinion on it. What do you guys think? I mean, does this look like something you want to cruise around in? You want to go jump into little little minivan that, again, see how low it sits to the ground? I mean, that's a great entry point for somebody who has a disability, but it's also a great entry point for water entry because we know Waymos love going swimming and acting like they're a Tesla Cybertruck in Wade mode. So I don't know. Let's see what we got. What everybody says in the chat here. We'll step back a little bit, and so Bud Soda Story says Avalanche. Now that you're full screen, them versus the Dallas Stars was the best hockey game I've seen in my life, man. Avs have always historically had a lot of good hockey games. Unfortunately, if we could get the Red Wings to step up, we might get some more good hockey games going on. But here we are. The Red Wings are on the golf course while the Avs are still. The sign, it's not crooked. It's just the camera's distorting it. But anyway, Bud Soda Story says, looks like a crappy people mover. British minivans suck. Yeah, well, this one's Chinese, so it's even different than what do they call those things over in I can't remember what the British call those little taxi things, the black taxis. I know somebody in here is going to know it. Looks like a Waymo for ants. I don't know. I just think it still looks like a Fisher Price or a Lego vehicle of some sort, Steve. But yeah, we could go with Waymo for ants. I mean, remember when Kia did the thing for the Kia Soul? They had the hamsters cruising around in it, and bebopping and jiving and this and that. Maybe that's what that's what you're going to get with that, because Waymo said, Waymo says that it's the it's going to be the first vehicle that they're not using, that are with the Jaguars, and they are opening up. They're going to be doing them in San Francisco, Phoenix, and LA over in the next several weeks. So they say it has more spacious interior. And if you do look at that, there was an article done by, and I pulled the photo, but I didn't load it into the slide deck here, so I'm not going to show it. But Business Insider they took a pre-trip ride in it, and they do have a lot more room. So, I think it's a great opportunity for, for disabled people, instead of shoving them in, my little Hyundai Kona and expect me to navigate and deal with a wheelchair, which we'll talk about that a little bit later in the expectations from Lyft and the other rideshare companies regard to people with disabilities. And this vehicle will be perfect for that, so I think that would be a great use for those vehicles. So we'll see what happens with it. But the other thing is, I don't know what kind of spin doctor move this is, but Waymo made a comment saying the vehicle also features customizations that will improve rider control over their experience. So I guess I can play hamster music, ding 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 ding, whenever I'm cruising in my Waymo ride. Who knows what that really means? I think it sounds like a lot of word salad business double talk there. So, all right, let's jump back over to the chat here real quick, and we'll see if we got anything else to beat up on about this new little Waymo vehicles. So let's see. It says going to curb like crazy too. Yeah, absolutely, bud. Let's see. Water potholes, snow, terrible idea. Actually, we could fill some potholes with them, just like with the Jags. I mean, I think that'd be a great use of the Waymo vehicles, but until we get the technology squared away here. So Torp says we got to get Sean monetized. Man, don't do that. I'm enough of a monster as it is, to let alone to have 1,000 people on here. But who knows where that what kind of trouble that would lead to. But I appreciate you, Torp, and the vote of confidence. But let's see. If there's Salt Lake City or Denver, yeah, they'd be awful. And they've pulled back, I mean, even Tesla's acknowledged, Bud, that they, that there's too many problems with the inclement weather. So right now, these are fair weather vehicles, and I think we're a long way with the technology to be able to navigate and do some stuff like that. Hopefully, within the near future, I'll have somebody as a guest on the podcast. I had somebody contact me yesterday about the CEO of a company that works with a lot of these autonomous vehicles that may end up coming onto the podcast, and we'll talk about the use of AI and mesh networks and things like that to see where they're going with this to improve it. And I warned them that. My followers and myself are skeptics, but we'd love to hear the point of view and hear what they're going to do to make it safer. And then also what are they going to do to create employment and keep employment for displaced workers. So I think those are all good questions. And, guys, AI is here. It's going to continue. And, we just got to be faced with it. And just like everything else, we got to be flexible, got to be fluid. And we're going to have to change the way that we operate, just like stuff with eVTOL coming in. The airport runs are going to be a different monster, but there's going to be other opportunities created with that. So we just got to start seeking out opportunities, and with that, understanding this technology and the use of the technology can really help us tap into, where are we going to go next with riding the wave with the technology on our own version of it. So that's kind of where my thoughts are with it. I still think we're dangerously early in the game with it, but I'd love to hear some other people's perspective, and hopefully you guys will too. So that's right. Only 893 subs, bud, until I hit that 1K. We're so close. So damn close. But everyone hit that like, hit that bell, hit that subscribe. We'll be there this afternoon in about an hour if we work hard at it. So anyway, Awesome Amy's in. Welcome in, Amy. And I know we got my phone's blowing up, so I know we got some other people we got some lurkers in the room too. And but that's okay. Y'all don't have to participate in the conversation, but those of you that do, we love that, and we love the quiet people too. You can do whatever you want. So Torp says I only need 500 to start. Yeah, that's just for the gifting and all that other stuff, Torp. But I'll take that as a start. And I'm not here just to try and I mean, sure, would it be fun? It would be nice to monetize. Yeah, absolutely. But that's not why I started doing this. I blame Steve, and the rest of you that started with me early whenever I was doing guest spots on Rideshare Rodeo's podcast. And y'all talked me into this, so I appreciate you staying stuck with me since y'all got me doing this. And I just wanted to, be able to provide a different perspective on this than I was seeing on the platforms. I mean, Steve provides a lot of those things. We see Torp occasionally. He's thrown in, he's done a lot of research on some stuff specific to Kentucky. I'd love to see you doing more of that, Torp. And, with legislation and things like that, I think we need bigger voices for that and more voices for it. So that was why I really decided to come on here. And if the money comes with it, cool. And while we're on that, I did start a Patreon up, and I am going to eventually start putting content on there. Right now I'm thinking probably it'll be more tech related stuff, and then I'm not sure we're going to go members, but yeah, if you're on Patreon, or if you're not on Patreon, join me on Patreon too, and help me build that up. Let's see what we want to do with that, and provide whether it's additional content or I think I'm going to probably start off with putting the links and the show notes on there for the members. And so that'll be one thing you can get access to as a member on the Patreon. Right now, I'm not charging any monthly members. And if I can do it, if it ever does go to where there's paid memberships, at least the first 25 of y'all you get a free life membership. If I can pull it off, I think you can do that with Patreon. So anyway, I'm just learning about it. And we got Toyo in. Welcome in. And let's see. Steve's an instigator. Yes, he is, Traveler. Absolutely. But tell your passengers to sub. Actually, I get a lot of podcasts. That's why my podcasts get an average of 50 downloads a week, because I do talk to a lot of my passengers about that. And occasionally I pick up some for here on YouTube that don't do the podcast thing. But yeah, actually that is one of my venues that I've been using to market to get people to join. That's why I do try and include the passenger side of you with it, because we do have passengers. We don't really have a whole lot that end up commenting. We have a few of you that do rideshare occasionally that I know of that are in here regularly on the chat. But so I try and provide everybody's perspective from it when I remember to. But sometimes we do get a little derailed with it. But Rideshare Rodeo, Steve, welcome in, brother. We were saying very, very kind things about you. No, I actually weren't saying anything bad about you. I was just blaming you once again for getting me in this mess and telling everybody to join my Patreon. So anyway, enough of that commercial break. We're done with Waymo here. And while we're talking about AI, again, as I said, hopefully we'll get a guest speaker on here in the near future that's going to be able to talk to us about AI. But we spent a lot of time talking negatively about it, but hopefully there's some stuff that will have some good things come out of it in the rideshare world, and I think there can be, but they don't really. These AI companies are really catering towards the manufacturers of vehicles, Uber, Lyft, and all that, and and the consumers, literal consumers of the AI and providers of the data for AI are kind of getting left in the weeds. So hopefully we can get some attention to that and get some of them to understand the value of having the people who are providing this data to them and so on and so forth forcefully to maybe become a better partner with them. So NVIDIA, now, all of you that are familiar with NVIDIA, they've introduced, and this started a way back, but they've now introduced their first autonomous vehicle system with reasoning. So now they think they got a better and smarter AI version, and it's called Alpamayo or Alpamayo. I'm calling it Alpamayo. ALPAMAYO. They say it enables AI to predict, plan, and then decide like human drivers. I call bullshit right now on that, but okay, whatever. We'll let you. We'll let you hype it, NVIDIA. You do everything else to drive the cost of things up. So sure, drive the cost up on autonomous vehicle technology. Please push that to an unaffordable level, even for Uber and Waymo. So yeah, let's keep pushing the cost of those stupid things up, so people will decide, after we talked about last week, that humans still cost less than AI. And again, too early in it, but anyway, NVIDIA is partnered with Uber, and this happened in October 2025 that they actually created that partnership. And there was October 28th, the NVIDIA CEO made an announcement saying, today we're announcing our partnership with Uber, and we're going to connect these NVIDIA Drive Hyperon cars into a global network. Well, they don't even have their own cars. What they are is, it's kind of like a bolt-on. I'm going to dummy it down, but it's a bolt-on system that both has that include a kit. I see. I'm going to I'm gonna go to my local speed shop, or go on to Summit Racing and order a kit to make my vehicle an autonomous vehicle. Now, I do honestly believe that is the direction that they're looking to go with all of this. So it's kind of an interesting evolving way that they're already jumping ahead to say, well, let's retrofit any vehicle with it. And to be able to do a level 4, and the level 4 vehicles, as a reminder, are the ones that are fully autonomous. So level 2 vehicles are the ones that have safety drivers, which I don't know what a level 3 is. I'm going to have to look up that to find out. Anyway, I digress. So they think they can, do this and build these, fully autonomous both vehicles for consumer use and then for robotaxi ready vehicles, as they describe it. So they're using open source AI models, simulation tools, real world data sets, thanks to all the drivers from Uber and Lyft, particularly Uber, because Uber's selling that data back to NVIDIA to be able to use that technology. So we're in the middle of helping to build this stuff, as I repeatedly say all the time, but it's a reminder, and there's nothing we can do about it, guys. I mean, we're forced into it. Either you do it or you don't drive. We're providing that data for them. So they think they're going to be able to do this. And so at some point, I guess I can just take my Kona and go buy one of these kits, slap it on it, and go out there, start the thing up, and let it go drive around, and go pick up passengers. And, we'll put 400 cameras inside of it and everything to monitor all of it. So I guess that's how we'll just have to be flexible, start converting our own cars to autonomous vehicles when it finally gets to that stage. I think I'll be long deceased before we get to that. But also, we never thought we'd see flying cars, but we got eVTOL. Here's George Jetson. Do. So, so again, using the openers. I'm reading through my notes here real quick, just to make sure I'm not missing anything on this, because this is kind of a little different angle than we're normally looking at with it. And I want to make sure I'm getting all the information out to you guys from the research I did. And there's a ton of information on it. I know the AI stuff can get really boring, but this is where it's coming. And I'm trying to feed you guys all the information so you understand how many people are invested in this. And, a lot of them are going to fail. They'll eventually be, it'll plateau for a while, and then a bunch of them are going to end up failing out of there. So, all right, let's see here. So Steve is driving home from his last curry, yada, yada, yada. You can still listen while you're doing your finishing your curry. George says, get with AI or you're off the bus. Just don't lie. Use it for fun and entertainment, not hard, cold facts. That's a human-only thing. So they are great researchers, Torp, and that's a great point. They're great for doing initial research and data collection. That is one thing that they're good at. But yes, they are littered with errors. And so you got to be really careful with that, because all they do is they're like a bad version of Wikipedia. And I think I've said this before, is they're not verified sources that they're pulling this information from. So you got to go do your own fact checking, but they can help you with the data collection really quickly. The other things they can be used from an analytical standpoint is spotting anomalies, that because humans were conditioned to, to do certain things and to do certain things in a certain pattern, and that's why, we're creatures of habit. And, just like you have a kid that if they're in a dysfunctional environment, hell, you get an adult that's in a dysfunctional environment and everything's dysfunctional around them, rather than having their routines and patterns and so on and so forth. We work better in that. And that's where our brains work. And sometimes we can train our brains to look for those anomalies, but most people just aren't very good at it. But that's one thing AI can be very good at, is look at patterns and trends and to be able to extract that and identify it, and then allow a human to drill down into it and look at it, just like you were talking about, Torp. So anyway, Steve says Torp has a live scheduled right now. So bye, Torp. I guess we'll see you later, bro. Thanks for stopping in if you're going live. But anyway, Steve says driving and listening. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you hanging in there with us. And then Sue said something about no George Jetson, and then Awesome Amy says, if it's not Rosie, she's not, and if she's not cleaning my house, I don't want nothing to do with the robot / AI. I don't want anything to do with any of the robots. That stuff's just creepy. I don't know. Is there somebody Google? Is there a term for fear of humanoid robots? And I'm not talking cyborg, people with some, but like humanoid like robots, like they're trying to do and stick into people's homes. What's the term for that? Smarten us up. Somebody Google that for me. And I don't need my producer yelling in the background. She can type in the chat. Let's see. Ordered from Amazon. Now you get it from Temu. Come on, what are you doing? What are you talking about, Amy? Don't spend that much money. I mean, China's going to produce them quicker and just as junky as anywhere else. So best way to defeat the AI is to understand it. And the AI label is also thrown around too much for anything tech. Yeah, it's not really. I mean, this is really NVIDIA's making some claims about AI being truly AI, where it can make human-like decisions and then be able to learn and do that. Right now, there is no learning that happens. They have to take that data and then it gets analyzed and then they reprogram it. And then it, makes the adjustments for it. It doesn't do it on the fly. So, Amy says automatonophobia. All right. Well, and yes, Sue just came in with it too. So there we go. That's what it is. Yep, you're spot on, Steve. True AI does not exist, and God forbid the day it does. Now there are some interesting anomalies that are happening with AI, particularly. So in the world of computer viruses and stuff, they're called polymorphic. So they will evolve, and they've been programmed to recognize patterns and changes and other intervention strategies, and they will change their virus strategy based on those conditions. But again, they're still preset conditions. There have been some weird anomalies that can't be explained that's happened with both some viruses and some other AI behavior. But, it's like, you throw, even if you're the worst basketball player in the world, you throw it at the basket enough, and as long as you're still getting kind of close, eventually you're going to hit it once out of a million times. So I think they're just weird little anomalies like that. Not that there's anything that's truly evolving that we have to be scared of at this point. So it's derived. So it says Twin Pine Studio says it's derived from the word automation, which is an early term for robot. Oh, automaton. Yeah, so like the automaton, I know Twin Pines Studio, you know what I'm talking about, like the little, they drew the sketches and things like that out, really cool. There was stuff back in, all the way back into the 1700s and I think even 1500s where they made these. But anyway, different technology, cool historical technology. That one, those automatons probably scared the hell out of people because some of them they are like people robots that are sitting there drawing these things out, but they're programmed to do it. So anyway, fear of robots, wax figures, and mannequins. Is that you, Awesome Amy, or is wax figures. Anybody ever been to a wax figure museum? Those are kind of interesting. I know probably some people have been to Vegas and seen them, or Hollywood. I remember when I was a kid, there was one in Hollywood that I went to. I think it was like Ripley's or some silly thing like that. So anyway, that's where we're at on the forefront right now with the with this whole thing with NVIDIA, which is everything computer. I'm surprised that they're not more involved with it, but their partnership with Uber, we'll see where this one develops. And Uber again has their hands in everything autonomous vehicle, and who knows where that's going to continue to lead us. But while we're still in the robotaxi world and everything, I thought it was kind of interesting while we're trying to figure out how many of these things, because there's so many companies out there and they're going with them right now. And Texas really is one of the biggest, becoming the biggest rideshare market, even above the California market. That Waymo currently has 577 vehicles. And again, not defining how many are Type 4 and how many are Type 2. AV Ride, which we talked about, that they're under investigation by the not the NTSB, but the National Transportation Safety Administration, NTSA, for their just anonymous lane changes and things like that. And I think, again, if I remember correctly, those were attributed to human error because they have a safety driver with all of them, and they were at lower speeds. And hopefully we'll get some answers, because the person that made the inquiry with me specifically cited about me talking about AV rides. So we'll see what happens with that. And then, so Tesla has 42. Amazon Zoox has 35. We hardly hear of them or talk about them too much. Maybe we need to throw them into the mix a little bit more. But everywhere we're just going through here, the interesting thing is they're still going through a self-certification process. So I'm not sure how much I like that, because now at this point, they've been out there long enough. Why don't we have independent certifiers that are certifying the operational safety of these vehicles? Humans have to go do a driving test. We can't have the autonomous vehicles take a written test, but why don't we have independent third parties that are monitoring, doing the certification for these vehicles? I mean, it seems completely reasonable. Does anybody disagree with that, or am I just trying to compare these AVs to humans too much, and they should just be able to, the company should be able to self-certify? I mean, every time we see something where these large companies, in the movies, where all these companies are allowed to do it without oversight, then all of a sudden the things go batshit crazy and, or either try and take over the world or, kill their leaders or whatever. So can we at least learn from the movies that we need a third, unbiased third party that's doing the certifications? Anyway, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just went down that hole. Let's see. People need to stop thinking LLMs or AI. They're not. Exactly. Traveler said something about Uber. Yeah, rolling our eyes. We'll keep doing that. So there's a whole lot of these things that are out there, and there's a whole lot of them that are level 4 certified, meaning they can run by themselves. So here we are on the world of oh, hold on a second here. Y'all don't get to see that part yet. So have you guys heard about this one? This poor little kitty here, Junie, has been allegedly abducted by an Amazon driver. And it's a very friendly cat. And it's been missing since May 14th. And as of today, the cat still hasn't disappeared or reappeared. Cat disappeared, didn't reappear. It didn't disappear like a magic trick. We'll show you what happened here. Actually, we'll just show you the surveillance footage that I started to do here in a second ago anyway. Here it is. maybe. Here we go. Dude walking up, doing his little thing. Dun, dun, dun. Sees a kitty, says, "Hey, kitty, kitty, meow," which literally happened. "Hey, you forgot to take a picture. You forgot to take a picture of the package." Okay, well, there goes dude off with the kitty. Bye-bye, Junie. There's not been any statements from the guy. The driver has been identified. As you see, he was wearing his standard Amazon garb. Is one of the contract drivers. Now, I don't know if it's one of the flex drivers, which I don't think it is because he was like in the full garb, and was wearing kind of the delivery uniform, which you don't see with a lot of flex drivers. So I think he's one of the contract Amazon drivers that have the vans and everything with it. But anyway, dude's been identified. There's been such people doing, investigations just like, you have with missing person things. It's really a big subculture. If any of you ever have not dove into it, but missing person cases, people have got dead and not found the killers and stuff like that. It's a big subculture with it. But anyway, some people have been going and doing their own investigation on Junie, and they tracked down the driver's girlfriend's social media. Apparently there were some comments that maybe allude to that, she had the cat or so. I don't know. It's going back and forth, but the bottom line is, Amazon says they're investigating it. And the delivery service partner, that's what those are called for the Amazon contract drivers, not the flex drivers, but the actual contract drivers. They're investigating it. And the Kern County Sheriff's Office out of Bakersfield, California, by the way, which is where this is at, as if things aren't bad enough in being in Bakersfield, then poor Junie got, abducted. So, the County Sheriff's Office says the case is an active theft of cat investigation. Didn't know that was part of the criminal code, but apparently in Kern County Sheriff's Office, it'd be a property theft in most jurisdictions, but they said that they're still investigating it and no criminal charges have been filed yet. It's been like, 3 weeks now, if it was the 14th? Come on. The Junie's owner is just like Brenda Wilson, she's pleading to the public on, hoping the driver would just take her and drop her off. Says the cat knows where it belongs. The cat was sitting in the front of the door, waiting to be let inside before it was abducted by the Amazon driver. And so they're like, just drop the cat off in the neighborhood. The cat will figure its way home. And, so the public's been getting involved pretty far locally. And of course they shared that ring footage with it. And, this is kind of global at this point. So is there anybody near Bakersfield, go knock on the door and say, we want Junie back. We don't have Joe in. He's not that close to Bakersfield, but he's the closest one that I know. So, anyway, come on. The cat burglar. Yeah. Cat burglary. Is it? It's an abduction. It's a cat abduction. It's not a burglary. And it's not a cat burglar, but it might be a cat burglar that abducted the cat. Catnapped. Oh my gosh, this is going downhill really quick. Come on, poor Junie is out there and y'all are making fun. Poor Junie. Junie, come home. Free Junie. All right, so anyone, if you know anybody near Bakersfield, tell them to go find Junie. This doesn't seem like it's completely unsolvable. But bad Amazon driver. Bad. So there's our bad. They're not really a gig workers, but they are they are contract employees. So kind of quasi, but they're not using their own vehicles. But still, bad driver. Bring Junie back home. All right. Moving away from California. Now let's move over to New York City. And I'm going to ignore chat so we can keep going here. But so good old Mayor Mandami. I never pronounced the dude's name. I should have wrote it. Mondani. I'm going to eventually get it right. But anyway, our socialist Democrat mayor in New York City has been working, to build up the Department of Consumer and Worker Protections and increase the budget to another 32 million. No. The council, so his budget proposal allocated $78.4 million to the Department of Consumer Worker Protections. Okay. It's not a union, but it's a group that's supposed to advocate for workers' rights, make sure that everybody gets, and including Rideshare. They want to put everybody on, give them a minimum wage, and give them this and give them that. Meanwhile, they want them to cough up, somebody to cough up the $78.4 million to increase this agency. Well, the interesting thing is, apparently Mondani isn't giving them enough money, according to City Council. Julie Mannon, she's pushing for another $32 million for this department. Now, if that's not enough, the funny thing is, interesting, not funny, ha, because this is complete bullshit. Where's all this money going to keep coming from? Where are all these handouts there, Mayor, going to keep going? Is that the commissioner for the Department of Corrections, Department of Consumer and Worker Protections, the commissioner, Sam Levin, he hasn't gone against the mayor, but he did go and say, look, we have enough money in here, and then, only found out about an hour before the council speaker, Julie Menon, wanted to add this 32. He only found out an hour before, and he said, we've got enough money to operate. But the guy that's in charge of the department says, we've got enough. But this lady wants to add another $32 million to the city budget for that. Where are you getting this money from, Julie? And who in your family or your friend is going to get employed with this extra $32 million is what I got to ask. If you got the guy who runs the department saying there's not a need for the $32 million, it's a shitload of money. Why would you even think for a second of proposing that they need that? Doesn't make any sense. But anybody here got any answers for it? The governor in New York too. Yes, absolutely terrible. But yes, the mayor. And then we had the city council, the minions, as we will henceforth refer to them. Mayor Mondami's minions. MMM. Left the state, it's a sad state there now. Look, I am not remotely a fan of democratic socialism. I try and stay out of the, again, vote, like Steve says, vote with your pocketbooks. That's the way to do it. This is not voting. This is not going to be favorable to anybody's pocketbooks, because eventually the well's going to run dry and they're not going to have any way to do it. And that's why I am so opposed to democratic socialism, because that's it. They just want to keep throwing money at things, throwing money at things, throwing money at things, throwing money at things. You know, here, let's give them fish, give them fish, give them fish, not teach them how to fish. If you want to develop programs and teach somebody to fish so they can become their own fishermen to feed themselves and their families, good for you. Let's do that. But just to keep giving freaking handouts and all this other crap, that's never going to work. The well's going to run dry, and then people start starving. But that, in a lot of cases, is what they want to do, is keep the people under their control. And that's the end of my rant about democratic socialism. Overall, this is just I have no idea what that lady's political leanings are, but she's a financial idiot. Again, the director of this, or the commissioner of it, said, I don't need that much that money. So things continue to go downhill quickly in New York with everything that they've got going on with it. So I'm tired of talking about New York. How about you guys? I was going through Reddit today and saw this post that just really annoyed the hell out of me. And again, all the links to all this on my Patreon. So if you guys want to go look at this, but I'm just going to read this post by this Uber driver. It was titled, "Got No Tipped by a Multimillionaire on a 1-Hour Comfort Ride." So, okay, who cares what their economic level is? So last week, I picked up a lady from a 10K square foot house. I guess they must have Zillowed their, address and discovered it was a 10,000 square foot house. Okay, anyway, whatever. On a 30-acre property. A whole lot of detail, man. Somebody was raging over this, but through pleasant conversation, I learned that she ran a successful law office for 30 years and is profiting $50K per month in her stock market portfolio. Okay, good for her. It was perfectly smooth and pleasant, hour-long comfort ride. After giving her a few days, I'm considering this a no tip. Or is it insane, or am I just greedy? I think I'll answer that for you. So, chat, is that kind of behavior, is he entitled to a tip? Or is he just being entitled to think he deserves a tip? Now, I want to hear your comments on there while I go on my little rant about this, because this is the problem with it. Look, and we're not talking about food delivery. That's a whole different monster, particularly DoorDash with your $2 base rate orders. That's created a whole different problem. Uber and Lyft, look, you know how much you're getting for the ride. If you're not making enough money on the ride to begin with, don't take the damn ride. Don't rely on hope for a freaking tip to make up the difference for it. That's why you suck at driving and can't make any money doing this. And is it hard to make money doing this? Abso-freaking-lutely, but don't kill yourself on hope and false dreams, especially when you pull up to a 10,000 square foot house, because my experience is those are some of the smallest or non-existent tippers in the world. They didn't get rich by giving a whole bunch of generosity away, and they thrive on building their wealth, not giving their wealth away. The only way they're going to give their wealth away is if they get a tax write-off, and they're not getting a tax write-off for giving you a freaking tip. So this is just the most obnoxious thing I've heard, that this guy's butthurt because he didn't get a tip from the lady. Well, you know what? good for her for not tipping you, because if you're that bothered by it, that you had to figure out how many acres she lives on, how many square feet her freaking house is. Man, you got to get a life. Go do something else. Go be a Walmart greeter or something, because I guarantee you're making less money than that at this point. I mean, save a little bit of your dignity and quit being a jerk and acting so damn entitled. And it's probably the same person that would complain about, an entitled person getting into their car. I don't know. Awesome Amy says nobody's required to tip. Absolutely. I think, tips should be earned. If you have a pleasant ride and it's within your means, then so do it. There's a whole lot of people that I give rides to that, well, I don't expect a tip from anybody I pick up. If I get a tip, then that makes me feel good that I did a good job as a driver, and they enjoyed their experience. That's what a tip should be about. Not about that I'm entitled to a tip because I used my vehicle and I drove there and I got them safely to their destination. That's your damn job, is to pick them up and take them safely to their destination. If you enhance the experience with them and they feel like you did a good job and you earn that tip, fine. And some people do tip regularly. And, I have conversations with people and they're like, I always tip, and but there was this one time the other day I didn't tip this person. I said, I don't think you should always tip. If you enjoy your conversation with your driver, or you enjoy your not conversation with the driver, if that driver does a great job and you think that they, enhanced your experience as a passenger, then give them a tip. Otherwise, keep your money for a driver that deserves it. And I know I'm not always the driver that deserves it. I am not a 5-star Uber driver, and that's for a reason. I don't deal with entitled people. This guy got in my car, I'm sure we wouldn't be, having an enjoyable ride. So anyway, I don't know, guys. That just grates me and annoys me. And, the entitlement from drivers. Again, this is not about the food delivery stuff. That's a whole different monster. And, all y'all that do that, y'all getting screwed left and right, as it begins with. And then the consumers who are, having to, just so they can get their order delivered, make sure they're giving you a big enough tip. The system's broken all the way around on that one. So I don't know what the answer is to fix it, but anyway, let's move back over to autonomous vehicles real quick, but a different version of it. So, Serve Robotics, who operates 2,000 robots nationwide, on my end, who knows what's happening there? And a little bit past the 40-minute mark where I usually freeze. So anyway, Serve Robotics, based out of, I think they're based out of California. But anyway, they've got about 2,000 robots nationwide, specifically 500 in California, have a new delivery partner. Okay, so, I'm sorry, 500 in LA alone, 500 of these delivery robots. So they have a delivery partner, a new one, that is, what is the name of it? Anyway, it doesn't matter the name of it. It's a laundry company. So you can now take your laundry to get laundered, or get your clean laundry delivered, and the same delivery robot that's delivering your food. Number one, how's that sanitary for the food? Number two, do you want your damn newly pressed white shirt either getting greasy pizza stain on it or smelling like a pizza cardboard freaking box before you even get your fresh starch shirt home? Hell no. No. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. There is more than 500. Not in LA County. This is just in the LA area, and and again, you know this much better than me, Steve, but guys, do you want pizza flavored shirts or shirt flavored pizza? What the hell? Who approved this? This isn't Department of Health in LA County. Wake up before somebody gets greasy pizza shirts or fungus pizza from somebody's dirty socks that they're frickin' delivering. What the hell? I can't believe this is why we have warning labels, people, because people do stupid shit like this. This is why we can't have nice things, because people do stupid things like this. I don't even know what to do with this. But this is how they're going to expand their platform and to be able to utilize the robots during slower periods instead of just sitting there at their docking stations having a robot conversation. But so the online services market, they think it's projected to grow from 40 billion last year is how big the laundry services market is, up to 130 billion by 2030. And Serve Robotics thinks that they're going to get them there with using their fleet of little pizza smelling robots, Chinese food smelling robots. What they're going to be like, sir, what flavor would you like your shirt to be? Would you like it to be Kung Pao chicken, sesame chicken, or pepperoni pizza is the special today? What the wuck? Anyway, don't want anything I'm wearing smelling like anything I'm cooking, let alone being delivered. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of people with that are smell sensitive, and that would definitely be a trigger for them. I didn't order the mushrooms on my pizza. Yeah, exactly. But did you order the mushrooms on your shirt, Twin Pines? That's the important question. So, and Amy says she'll take the mushrooms. Will you take the mushrooms off the shirt or off the pizza or both? That's a real question. So anyway, like I said, this is why we can't have nice things, and this is why we have warning labels, because people do stupid stuff like this, and there we are. But the good thing is the homeless will now have a new place not only to get food, but they'll have a new place to get new clothing. They don't even have to go walk to the TJ Maxx and go over and steal all the Dare shirts off the rack. They can just take them from right there. Just wait for the robot to come drive and buy them, and abduct the contents of whatever the little robot is. So anyway, more stupid uses of more stupid technology. All right, moving on to my next rant of the week, and we're going to get to some good stuff here, guys. Hang in. I should have said something about this earlier, but I'm like super excited. And I know we're almost up to our hour mark, so I'm going to talk about the next subject here, and it's about the disabled riders. I got my little notification, but then after that, we're going to talk about the most fun thing I've seen come from Uber in forever. So hang in there. We're going to get to it, and then we're going to close up with some eVTOL, and then move on with the rest of the week. So, all right. So I got this little notification about my obligations to disabled passengers. Okay, fine, whatever. Steve and I have talked about this. We talked pretty extensively a couple weeks ago about that, and agreed that we don't think most drivers discriminate, particularly blind people. But then we have the whole thing with scooters and wheelchairs. Now, Lyft's policy and also the federal law is that, you have to accommodate these people. Well, number one, again, as I've said a million times, everybody knows I drive a Hyundai Kona, and that's a subcompact SUV for those of you that don't know what that is. That means it's a little car. And it's still bigger than a Prius, but it's not. It's, the smallest SUV you can get, pretty much. Not small, but still small. There's a lot of room in it from the passenger standpoint, but the cargo area doesn't have very big areas. So a lot of times you get these wheelchairs, walkers. Never had a foldable scooter situation. If I ever have one, it's not happening because, and we'll talk about that briefly for those of you that do rideshare. So you're supposed to be able to, you're supposed to accommodate those. So my question is, well, if you have a foldable scooter, or you have a wheelchair and it's a small vehicle, again, reasonable accommodations. That's what ADA says. Now, what about drivers that are disabled? Well, and they talk about that, but it's completely, there's no reasonable accommodations for the disabled drivers. They get reasonably, unaccommodated and have to jump through a bunch of hoops. So that's a problem. Why can't a driver make a declaration, even if they have to have a doctor's note or something like that, say, I'm disabled, I can't load a freaking wheelchair. I'm disabled, I can't load a foldable scooter. Forget the size of the vehicle. Now, and be able to get an exemption from it. There's no reasonable accommodation to disabled drivers, and there's a whole lot of them out there because they can't do other work. And so I think that that's completely a screwed up, messed up area with this whole thing. So anyway, that's my position on that. And why aren't they using the WAVE vehicles, the wheelchair accessible vehicles? WAVE vehicles. I forgot what that's called. But anyway, why aren't they using WAVE, wheelchair accessible vehicles? Because it's safer for everybody, and it's going to go a lot quicker. And it's a reasonable accommodation to have them wait a little bit longer for a vehicle that can safely transport them, and with an expectation that the person that's transporting them knows how to properly assist these people. There is not any official training on how to do an assist with these people. So I strongly disagree that we are a medical transport provider as drivers. But that's Lyft's policy. And you're not going to get a foldable scooter in my car. It's not going to fold. Now, and also, what about vehicle damage? I have damaged my vehicle, the interior, from freaking foldable wheelchairs. I'm not talking about the sport models that are made of, titanium and carbon fiber and all that stuff. Those are fine, but those big old clunky freaking slummy nursing home ones that, they weigh like 400 freaking pounds and barely fold up. They just collapse together. They're not foldable. They collapse together. That those things are heavy as hell, and they've got all kinds of crap protruding out of them. And I do have some scratches on parts of my vehicle, and it was from one of those damn wheelchairs. And, why shouldn't a driver get paid more? Number one, to be able to accommodate that. And then two, and when I say paid more, I mean real pay, not a 50-cent extra kicker or something. And, should I file the damage claim? Well, then I would have got into a big ugly thing with Lyft. But this is ridiculous that, there's got to be a better way for that, and to be able to make the disabled people ride more comfortably rather than just slamming everything into, 10 pounds of crap into a 5-pound paper bag, which is what happens. Now, as far as the scooters go, there ain't no way one of those things are going in there without obstructing my view. So I can legally decline one of those, because as long as they're not, if they're obstructing my view, then I can decline it. And some of those walkers don't collapse very well either. Even if I fold down, the seats, the way they're made, and I don't know. Anyway, but something to think about. Lyft and Uber is, again, I know you don't care about your drivers. You don't care about your passengers either. You just care about the green between us. But think about these things and what can we do to truly make a difference, make things safer, make things more enjoyable for the passengers. And this isn't the way. This isn't the way to do it. And take care of your disabled drivers too, because that's a violation. Because you have to make reasonable accommodations to them instead of making them call into a number or to file a. You have to go onto the website actually to inform them that you declined the ride because of that. And, we know you're never going to get that off of your cancellation anyway, so why bother with it? So just one little thing that when I got that notification today, I was just really annoyed by it because, number one, I don't need it. But also Colorado passed their new law that they have to, make sure that they're doing regular training. So I'm sure that's part of the compliance part that Lyft was doing with it. So I'm done with that one. Let's have some fun. What do you guys say? I was going to talk about a driver in Pennsylvania that got stabbed in the neck. I'm going to talk about that real quick. Let's just go over this one. If you guys haven't seen this, you got to see it. And I know you're like, why is he laughing? Because the driver got stabbed in the neck. The driver survived it. But apparently they got into a whatever. And then driver got stabbed in the neck. And dude that stabbed driver goes running down the road. And this was in the Pittsburgh area. Goes running down the highway. And there was a description that he damaged multiple vehicles on the highway. So I don't know what that means or how that happened. But the beautiful thing in all this, guys, is karma was there to take care of shit because the state police hadn't yet. He got hit by a vehicle and sustained an injury to his leg. So thank you, karma, for taking a little bit of street justice out on this piece of crap that stabbed the driver with it. So, all right, so we're ready to have some fun and talk about all this crazy. Are you guys familiar with the Uber Lost and Found Index? This is awesome. Guys, I was having so much fun with this. I stopped reading it. So this is the 10th annual Uber Lost and Found Index. So what they do is they go through and they collect. They're always collecting data, but this time at least they're doing something entertaining. This is the best thing I've seen come from Uber in a long time. So, Uber first goes into, here's how you can, they have a new lost item experience that they're now have available in California, Texas, Illinois, Pennsylvania, DC, Georgia, Minnesota, and Massachusetts. So apparently they're trying to make it a little bit easier. I bet they're doing more to get themselves out of the middle of it. That's what we're starting to see with a lot of this. But anyway, back to the fun part of this. So they created lists and they have different categories. This one they had the 50 most unique lost items, the 10 most commonly forgotten items, which every single one of those you would guess. So what do you think some of the most unusual items, while I'm going through here telling you what the categories are, that people have found? And I'm going to go through some of these. And then they have different the trends of things that were lost, like Labubu. If everybody knows what Labubu are, but they're little stuffed things. They're really trendy. Crocs. Not sure what Tooth Fairy's Night Off is. I'm not going to bother. Smoke and mirrors is one of the categories. they have. I think that goes back to the 80s. You want to talk about smoke and mirrors, and they didn't talk about a little bump in there, so maybe they mean different mirrors. So we're going to go through some of these. I'm going to I'll put the link on my Patreon again, and where you guys can go read through this. Frankly, it's 6-7 pages of pure entertainment with it. But so like 50 of the most unique items. Number 1, dentures with 2 teeth. I'm just reading it. I don't know if this was in Hogwaller, Arkansas, or where the hell it was, but there's a number 1 for most unique item, lost items. Number 6 is my favorite, but we're not going to go to that one yet. Hospital discharge papers for stack of marbles. An oxygen tank. That was number 9 on most unique items. Oh, sorry, kiddies. Grandma got dead because she forgot her oxygen in an Uber, and they made it very difficult for her to get her oxygen tank returned. So, anyway, memorial services for Granny will be on the following Sunday. In lieu of flowers, you can make a donation to Fix the Frickin' Uber app and make it more user-friendly foundation. A brand new mini fridge. What the hell you leave a mini fridge in there? There's live fish. Oh, okay. Well, I'll go get a fish bowl and probably, have my Uber pet fish. I don't know. Amy, a mannequin. Number 15. Somebody left a mannequin in an Uber. 2 trees. $200 worth of Temu items. How many damn Temu items did they, again, was this a box truck that they had, that they were doing Uber in, that you can get $200 worth of Temu items in? A 75-gallon fish tank. Look, we have a 75-gallon fish tank for the live fish that were left in here, too. A dishwasher. Dude, somebody puts a dishwasher, even if I had like a Uber XL, somebody left a dishwasher in there. I sure as hell remember. Or was it a dishwasher named Jesus? Somebody forget their passenger in the car? Anyway, I'm going to hell for that one, I know. A wizard wand. That one's always great. A welding helmet. Okay, yeah. I've had people leave box knives and other construction-related crap in my safety glasses, things like that in my car. So, coffee table, handcuffs. Oh, somebody was out for a good time. There's this one. Okay, guys. Pelvis implants. First off, what the hell are pelvis implants? Ladies, is that to make your hips appear wider? Or guys too, sorry. Don't want to leave some of those men out, but what are pelvis implants? Somebody tell me in the chat with this. Hi, you guys, I'm really relying on you guys a lot tonight. I'm sorry, I know. A propane tank. Okay. Somebody's leaving explosive items in there. A package of live butterflies. This one's, I'm a little offended. Somebody left 20 pounds of duck sausage in there. That's, yeah, somebody's all quacked up over that one. Hunting waders. Amy says she'd never leave her cuffs behind. Outstanding. A kitchen faucet. Doesn't say anything about the sink. A meat slicer. Of course, the most common ones, Tim, headphones, keys, clothing, blah, blah, blah. The 10 most, we're going to go through the 10 most forgetful cities. Then I'm going to go back to my favorite, most unusual item, and I bet I know the date of when this item was, or items were left. All right, so number 10, Newark, New Jersey. Bubba Sue, New Jersey, is number 10 on the list. Atlanta, Georgia, number 9. Number 8, Boston, Massachusetts. Number 7, Dallas. 6, Washington, D.C. Number 5, L.A. Number 4, San Francisco. Number 3, Chicago. Number 2, Miami, Florida, plus leaving a whole hell of a lot of sand in people's vehicles. And for number 1, of course, New York City. All right. And before we wrap up with this, my favorite one on this entire list was number 6. And I bet it happened on April 20th because somebody supposedly left 420 donuts in a car. No, I don't think that the passenger was the only one that was enjoying 420. The driver had to be too to make them let them whatever forget that they had 420 freaking donuts in their car. How do you forget something like that? But other than unless you are well enjoying 420. And that, boys and girls, is the end of that story. You can read the rest of it when I provide the link on my Patreon, or you can just do a Google search for the 10th annual Uber Lost and Found Index and find it on Uber's blog if you'd like. But go over and check out my Patreon with it and go from there. So, all right. Last topic, we're going to talk about eVTOL. And there's a new company, well, not new, but there's a company out there called Beta Technologies. And they are out there flying both their CTOL and VTOL. So vertical takeoff and landing and conventional takeoff and landing. So meaning either they use a runway or they can use a vertiport. And they're both very similar vehicles. You'll notice in this video that there are two vehicles are just going that they look very, very, very similar. The difference is one has 4 additional rotors and then the CTOL, the airplane kind of like version, has 1 rotor at the very back of the aircraft. So then the VTOL has a 4 on there. So we're going to show this video, and it has the new Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, that was on a flight with it. So let's go to this video and we'll check it out and see. We've got more entries into the eVTOL world. Maybe we will. Cool.
Pretty remarkable.
This is not the Jetsons. This is actual real life.
Wow.
I'm the Secretary of Transportation, and I'm going to take a historic flight into the future.
Dude, this is freaking amazing.
Nice flying, man.
I'm at Beta Technologies. This American company is going to fundamentally change the way that people and products move. This is American innovation, American workers, American owners.
These are the chargers that we put all over the country. EIPP catalyzed all of this.
I love this, and I love what you guys are doing. It's the partnership of, again, regulators and innovators all working towards the same end goal.
People and products are going to move more efficiently, more cost effectively.
We burned $3.
$3 on that flight.
You ready to go? Yeah, let's go. America, again, is leading the world in aviation innovation.
What do you think?
Kyle, man, thank you for having me. This was awesome.
For flying with us.
It was great.
All right, so it was kind of an interesting video, getting to see inside the cockpit. A lot of the comments that were made by Sean Duffy, including that they said that they earned $3 with it, so they get a real time cost assessment of how much the operating expense for that vehicle is. Now that's just electricity, maybe a little bit of maintenance. I don't think that $3 includes all the development fees and everything with it. So I think they're being a little conservative with that, and we're just trying to show. But it's a I don't know, it's kind of interesting with it, and but it's still continuing to move forward. And let's see here. So Meridian has a comment, and Meridian, hit me up offline on that. We can talk about it. I think maybe you're joking or something. It says, I've been thinking about renting a car and doing rideshare. I'm going to do it. I like free stuff. Do you like giving free stuff? Because you're going to be giving a whole lot of money to Uber and or Lyft, whichever one you do it with. And you can't, if you go through the Uber or Lyft program, you're going to have to be able to, you know, if you go through the Uber or Lyft program, you can only go with them. You can't do both platforms whenever you rent from one of them. Now, there are, depending on what your market is, there's some companies that do some rental stuff, but there's a lot of things that are there's a lot of caveats to that. So if you want some additional information on it, hit me up on, shoot me a message either on Instagram. You can email me at ridesharezone@gmail, and if you have some questions about that, and maybe we'll talk about it sometime, but it's typically, that's not a topic I discuss on these because there's a whole lot of information. Most people are going to tell you don't do it. I'll say do it with warning, and after you're educated, if you think it's still something you want to do, then do it. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Keep seeing having a bunch of technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on because everything on my analysis says, you know, I'm only at a CPU of 9.5%, and you know, I'm at 10,000 kilobytes per second streaming, so I'm fine with everything. So it looks like we got YouTube's being YouTube with us. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 18. Like I said, Meridian, hit me up. We can have a conversation with it. I did do it, so I'm not speaking just from, you know, what I've read. I did do it for a while with the Lyft program, and so I can tell you the good, the bad, the indifferent with it. And again, I'll give you some information, and you make a decision from there. I'm not going to tell you to do it. You guys have an awesome evening. Thank you so much. We'll see you for episode 19 next week. But before that, I'll be on with Steve on Thursday. So come see us 8 o'clock Eastern time. And don't forget to go jump on and join my Patreon. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Good night. Be safe. Have fun. Make a lot of money.